Imagine a vast mountain, invisible at its peak, shrouded by clouds. At its base, two travelers begin their ascent. One, Adi Shankara, steps lightly with his gaze forever pointed toward the summit, searching for the one behind every stone. The other, Vivekananda, surveys the bustling life in the foothills, reaching to help others climb, finding meaning even in the journey itself. We stand at the foot of the mountain, drawn to both paths, wondering whose footsteps truly lead to the truth. To answer this, we must look deeply, not just at the maps they drew, but at the very ground beneath our own feet. Adi Shankara, who lived in ancient India, saw everything as part of a grand illusion, like waves on the surface of a limitless ocean. According to him, our daily worries, joys, and pains are like dreams in a deep sleep, only appearing real until we awaken. He taught that the true self inside us is not different from the one, formless reality called Brahman. In his view, life's roles, be it rich or poor, wise or foolish, are costumes we wear in a kind of divine play, meaningful only while the play lasts. For Shankara, the only way to peace was to wake up, to dissolve the illusion of difference, and realize that you are that same vast ocean, unchanged by the waves of events and emotions. Vivekananda, centuries later, saw the same ocean but insisted that its waves, however temporary, are sacred. Where Shankara saw the world as a trick of light and shadow, Vivekananda saw a field for action, love, and transformation. He believed everything in existence was touched by divinity, your neighbor, the trees, even your everyday struggles. Serving another person, especially those whom society neglects, was for him not a distraction from spiritual truth, but the very path to it. He didn't want people to only close their eyes in meditation. He wanted them to open their arms to heal, to lift, to build. For Vivekananda, truth was alive, moving, practical, a river, not a stone. Why do these views matter? Imagine two friends entering a grand theater. Shankara argues that the play on stage is just an illusion, and true happiness lies in realizing the play isn't real. The world outside the theater is what counts. Vivekananda says, yes, maybe. But what matters too is how you act during the play. Do you help the weeping actor? Do you comfort those frightened by the dark? Can you make the experience better for everyone? Shankara wants enlightenment by stepping outside the story. Vivekananda wants enlightenment by transforming the story from within. Let's dig deeper into their assumptions. Shankara believed that truth exists beyond words, reason, and even feeling. He thought the ultimate reality is a kind of silent stillness, unaffected by what happens in the world or in individual lives. Only a few, he felt, could reach this realization, and so his teachings, wrapped in old Sanskrit words, were often meant for the educated, already privileged classes. This is where we find one of the sharpest shadows in his philosophy. By making the journey to truth a rare climb, he often reinforced social divisions. His teachings sometimes ended up justifying the old rules of society that kept people apart by birth or background. Vivekananda, instead, dreamed of opening all the doors. He believed that everyone, no matter their status, gender, or education, could touch the divine. He told people that every act of genuine kindness, every effort to educate, heal, or feed another was holy. This is why his approach exploded barriers. He taught in simple languages, inspired reform, and reached out to those marginalized for centuries. However, he too had his blind spots. While he often spoke of equality, he didn't always push hard enough against the deep-rooted problems around him, like caste discrimination. Sometimes his focus on feel-good, universal religion blurred the real differences, the pains that needed more radical change. To step back, we should ask, what does it mean to reach the truth? If truth is something that never changes, a silent presence behind all noise, then Shankara's vision is almost impossible to argue against. Yet, how does that vision help when you're hungry, unwell, or oppressed in society? Is that kind of truth for everyone, or just a comfort for the lucky few who can afford to withdraw from life's storms? On the other hand, if truth is something that wakes up in every shared smile, every fight for justice, and every tear wiped away, then Vivekananda's message pulses with hope and responsibility. It is a truth that never lets you rest as long as even one person suffers. But if we only act without pausing to ask why we act, or lose sight of a foundation deeper than fleeting success, do we risk getting lost in the surface, never discovering the endless ocean beneath? Let's use a simple analogy. Suppose life is a garden. Shankara tells us that the flowers and fruits are not the real point. The garden itself is a shadow of an invisible, perfect field. To see that field, you must stop identifying with any one plant or flower and realize you are the whole field. Vivekananda, in contrast, says, "Tend the garden. Every rose you help bloom, every weed you pull, is an act of worship." Both agree there is more than meets the eye, but where Shankara says don't get distracted by the colors and shapes, Vivekananda says those colors are the very language of the divine. There are problems and promises in both. When you see only the absolute, you may ignore real suffering and joy, and even reinforce structures that keep others from flourishing. When you see only the world, you may miss the healing peace that comes from knowing a deeper unity, especially when things fall apart. Yet if we listen carefully, perhaps these two visions are not as far apart as they seem. Is it possible that seeing the oneness behind all things could inspire deeper compassion, and that acting with compassion could reveal the unity behind diversity? At the heart of it, the question is not just whom to follow, but what kind of life and world we wish to create. Do we withdraw, seeking knowledge, and leaving the world behind like an abandoned coat, or do we get our hands dirty in the mud and sunlight of shared existence? Or is the deepest wisdom to hold both, to know our roots go deeper than appearance, and yet to cherish every flower and friend along the path? In the end, perhaps neither got it right completely, at least not in a way that fits into a tidy answer. Shankara's gift is a humility before the unknown, reminding us that every certainty is temporary, every difference another mask. Vivekananda's legacy is a kind of restless hope, the conviction that each of us, in every small action, can touch the sacred. The real adventure may be to never stop asking, to never rest in easy certainty, to let their differences become the engine of our own search. So, as you listen to these voices echoing across centuries, know that the journey to truth is not a straight road with a finish line. It is a dance between solitude and service, silence and song, retreat and return.